guy walks into the bar and sees a gorgeous blonde sitting on the bar stool all alone. So the guy sits down next to her and pulls a small box from his pocket. He opens it and there's a frog inside. The blonde says he's cute, but does he do tricks? The guy says yes, he licks girls' cats. So after talking with her for several minutes, he convinces her to come with him to his apartment. They get there and she takes all her clothes off, gets into bed, and opens her legs. The guy sets the frog right between her legs and it just sits there not moving at all. The blonde says, "Well, what's up?" The frog still does not move. So the guy leans over to the frog and says, "Alright, I'm only going to show you how to do this one more time." Old man Mr. Smith was living the last of his life in a nursing home. One day he appeared to be very sad and depressed. Nurse Lisa asked if there was anything wrong. "Yes, Nurse Lisa," said Mr. Smith. "My private parts died today and I am very sad." Knowing her patients were forgetful and sometimes a little crazy, she replied, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Smith. Please accept my condolences." The following day, Mr. Smith was walking down the hall with his private parts hanging out of his pajamas when he met Nurse Lisa. "Mr. Smith," she said, "you shouldn't be walking down the hall like that. Please put your private parts back into your pajamas." "But, Nurse Lisa," replied Mr. Smith, "I told you yesterday that my private parts died." "Yes, you did tell me that, but why are they hanging out of your pajamas?" asked Nurse Lisa. "Well," he replied, "today's the viewing." He was talking to his friend at the bar and said, "I don't know what to get my wife for her birthday. She has everything, and besides, she can afford to buy anything she wants, so I'm stuck." His friend said, "I have an idea. Why don't you make up a certificate saying she can have 60 minutes of great anyway she wants it? She'll probably be thrilled." Terry decided to take his friend's advice. The next day at the bar, his friend said, "Well, did you take my suggestion?" "Yes, I did," Terry replied. "Did she like it?" "Oh yes, she jumped up, thanked me, kissed me on the forehead, and ran out of the door yelling, 'I'll be back in an hour.'" Women are having dinner in a restaurant. The waitress, taking another order a few tables away, spots that the man is slowly sliding down his chair and under the table, with the woman acting unconcerned. As the waitress watches, the man slides all the way under and out of sight. Still, the woman dining opposite him appears not to notice. Finally, the waitress comes over to the table and whispers discreetly to the woman, "Pardon me, ma'am, but I think your husband just slid under the table." "No, he didn't," the woman calmly replies. "He just walked in the door." Parents take their son on a vacation and go to a beach. The father goes for a walk on the beach and the son goes and plays in the water. The son comes running up to his mom and says, "Mommy, I saw ladies with boobs a lot bigger than yours." The mom says, "The bigger they are, the dumber they are." So he goes back to play. Minutes later, he runs back and says, "Mommy, I saw men with a lot bigger than daddy's." The mom says, "The bigger they are, the dumber they are." So he goes back to play. Several minutes later, he comes running back and says, "Mommy, I just saw daddy talking to the dumbest lady I've ever seen." And the more he talked, the dumber he got. Do two guys are camping. They are having a little conversation when all of a sudden one guy yells, "I just got bitten by a snake on the tip of my penis." The other guy says, "Don't worry, I'll go into the town and ask a doctor what to do." So the guy goes to the nearest town, and after 30 minutes, he finds a doctor. He asks the doctor, "Doctor, my friend just got bitten by a snake. What can I do?" The doctor says, "Calm down. All you have to do is suck the poison out." So the friend goes back to the campsite where his friend is lying on the ground. He asks, "So what did the doctor say?" The friend says, "The doctor says you're going to die." Bride tells her husband, "You know, I'm a virgin and I don't know anything about it. Can you explain it to me first?" "Okay, sweetheart. Putting it simply, we will call your private place the prison and call my private thing the prisoner. So what we do is put the prisoner in the prison, and then they make love for the first time. Afterward, the guy is lying face up on the bed, smiling with satisfaction. Nudging him, his bride giggles. Darling, the prisoner seems to have escaped. Turning on his side, he smiles. Then we will have to re-imprison him. After the second time, the guy reaches for his cigarettes, but the girl, thoroughly enjoying the new experience of making love, gives him a suggestive smile. Darling, the prisoner is out again. The man rises to the occasion, but with the unsteady legs of a recently born foal. Afterward, he lies back on the bed, totally exhausted. She nudges him and says, "The prisoner has escaped again." Limpy turning his head, he shouts at her, "It's not a life sentence, okay?" Newlywed couple arrived back from their honeymoon to move into the tiny new flat. "Care to go to bed?" the husband asked. "Shh," said his blushing bride. "These walls are paper thin. The neighbors will know what you mean. Next time, ask me in code, like, 'Have you left the washing machine door open?' instead." So the following night, the husband asks, "I don't suppose you left the washing machine door open, darling." "No," she snapped back. "I definitely shut it." Then she rolled over and fell asleep. The next morning she woke up feeling a little frisky herself. So she nudged her husband and said, "I think I did leave the washing machine door open after all." "Don't worry," said the man. "It was only a small load, so I did it by hand." Kyo bumps into his old pal Geppetto, the carpenter who made him. Geppetto asks how he is doing with his girlfriend. "Not bad," Pinocchio says. "But when we have she keeps complaining about the splinters." "Don't worry," says Geppetto. "I'll give you a sheet of fine sandpaper. That should fix the problem." A few weeks later, they meet again. "How are things with your girlfriend now?" asks Geppetto. "Who needs a girlfriend?" Pinocchio replies. Woman with no clothes jump into a taxi. The taxi driver stares at her, looking her over from the top to bottom. The woman is offended and asks the taxi driver, "What's the matter? Haven't you seen a woman with no clothes before?" The taxi driver responds, "Oh, it's not the fact that you're naked that bothers me." "Then why are you looking at me that way?" She retorts, "Well, ma'am, I'm looking at you and thinking, where is this lady keeping the money to pay for this ride?" Wife asks him to go to the store to buy some cigarettes. So he walks down to the store only to find it closed. So he goes into a nearby bar to use the vending machine. At the bar, he sees a beautiful woman and starts talking to her. They have a couple of beers and one thing leads to another and they end up in her apartment. After they've had her fun, he realizes it's 3 a.m. and says, "Oh no, it's so late. My wife's going to kill me." He takes his shoes outside and rubs them in the grass and mud. Then proceeds home. His wife is waiting for him in the doorway and she's pretty pissed off. "Where have you been? Well, honey, it's like this. I went to the store like you asked, but they were closed. So I went to the bar to use the vending machine. I saw this great looking chick there, and we had a few drinks, and one thing led to another. And I ended up in bed with her. She sees his shoes are covered with grass and says, "You lying, you've been fishing again." After 3 years of marriage, Kim was still questioning her husband about his lurid past. "Come on, tell me," she asked for 1,000th time. "How many women have you slept with?" "Baby," he protested. "If I told you, you'd throw a fit." Kim promised she wouldn't get angry and convinced her hubby to tell her. "Okay," he said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then there's you. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.